is AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. I am Will Washington, but I am not alone here because she is back in her home. Yes. It is Aubrey Edwards. We're not seeing you in a hotel in...
Oh, God.
Yes, in Europe this time.
Right, I think I was in Scotland when we talked with Blake last week, so it was like, oh my God, So it was funny before we signed on, Stacey's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm a husk of a human being. Because it's like, it's one of those things, like, the joke is that, like, you don't get paid to work in wrestling, you get paid to travel, and the wrestling part is the fun part that you just get to do, like, anyway. But it's like, I had 2 layovers to Scotland. We were there for a couple days, and then we flew to London, did the crazy show there. The O2 was fantastic. All of the fans in the UK are phenomenal. And then I flew back home to Seattle, 9.5-hour flight, was home for 18 hours before I then went to Philadelphia to kick off our amazing residency. So I found Justin Roberts' secret supply of 5-hour energy drink.
And it sounds like you absolutely needed it. Because...
There was a point where he texted me before we went live in Philly, and he goes, dude. And that's all the text says. And I go, I can see God. Like, it hit hard, man. But Europe was awesome. Like, the UK was great. And like, I had heard rumors we were going back soon. So being able to like finally talk about the fact that we're going back to Cardiff, and now we get to do our debut in Manchester. Both of these shows are happening in December. Obviously, go to aewtix.com to learn more about when those tickets are going to go on sale. But it's just an incredible experience. And it kind of puts everything into perspective that, like, I've heard it before. Like, we had Tony on. We're in over 130 countries worldwide. And I think we forget that a lot because we're just in our venues in Columbus, Ohio, or Peoria, Illinois, or wherever it is we are that week. And then we go somewhere like Scotland and we're sold out. And then we go to the O2 and we're sold out. And we're announcing all of these other shows. We announced Australia again. And it's just incredible to see that we can bring AEW to fans across the world. And that, oh man, I'm getting all like goosebumpy and like teary talking about it. It was just such a cool experience.
Yeah, honestly, it sounded like a really cool experience. I had to stay behind in case people didn't figure that out. But I do want to remind everybody, by the way, that this show, in case you can't see, look, because we got graphics here, we got it all here. Hey, folks, she's got the hat. This show right here is presented by our dear friends over at Upper Deck. And we have got these cool Metal Universe cards. If you haven't gotten to check these out, like there's so much. When we talk about the Upper Deck cards, there's so many different varieties to check out. And you can collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your traded card collection today. Unwrap autograph memorabilia or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. I've got this pack right here. Check these out. Look. You can always just guarantee you're going to pull out something cool. Look, we got Shelton Benjamin, former AEW World Tag Team Champion, right. And somebody we've had on this show.
So I'm just going to put it out there. This pack has 5 cards, and they're all really, really cool looking. And I pulled like 5 bangers right out of the gate. I got Rocky Romero, 5th most powerful man in wrestling. I have Matt Jackson, former EVP, which, by the way, everything.
Is that one of the cool? Because I just got this cool, like, kind of clear Matt Jackson card. Oh, we got 2 different ones.
I got one of those, but I got that as Dax.
Yeah, so look at that. Oh, look at the 2.
I can see through it.
2 of the greatest tag teams in history.
Right.
Competing for.
I have Mansoor. This card is probably sponsored by Seed.
I've got Toa, one half of the Gates and 1/3 of the trio with Ricochet. So Toa, half of Goa, and
yes.
So yeah, you collect those cards. Like, seriously, check them out. Upperdeck.com to learn more.
Yes, they're phenomenal. We love our sponsor at Upper Deck. We've talked a lot about all the things that we're doing here at AEW and all the things we have doing, but obviously we have all this amazing talent who has done amazing things, and that's one of the things I love about this podcast. We have this talent on. We talk about their backgrounds because not everyone comes from the same story. And speaking of the fact we were just in the UK, like we've got some people who just joined our roster, particularly from somewhere else in Europe. So who do we have here today, Will?
Well, Aubrey, we are joined by the Toxic Spider and the member of the Triangle of Madness. Thekla is with us right here on AEW Unrestricted. Thekla, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I feel like I should have started this podcast upside down, and I failed by not doing so.
Oh yeah, that's a good one actually. They do that recently. It's a good.
It's great. It gets me every single time when all of a sudden we get to see you. Camera rotates. It's cool. An excellent idea. It's excellent. Look, I am excited just to have you here on the show, but more importantly, I've been excited to have you here in AEW. Yes. The build-up was so cool. It had people talking. You know, we had the spider crawling across the screen. Everybody's like speculating, like, what is that? I think I know what that means, but I don't know. And then all of a sudden, here you are as a part of the show, and now a part of the Triangle of Madness. Let's start with, how's it been? You're still very fresh here at AEW, but how has it been so far?
It's been great. I really can't complain. I love it. I've always wanted to work in the States. I had my first match ever in the States in April. So it's been like, it's been going like that.
Wow.
I love it. It's crazy. It's crazy out here. I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, I feel like you came here and then you just hit the ground running, and you've been on TV every week wrestling in these ridiculously large matches, doing really cool stuff, and also just seeing how quickly you're picking things up. Because I don't think people quite understand the difference in wrestling in different countries, and like doing live event versus television and commercials, and how different cultures like incorporate referees. Like, we've had a lot of conversations about this. It's been really great seeing like how driven and dedicated you are, and what an incredible member of this roster that you are. And I'm excited to hear.
Especially when it comes to ref stuff, it's like I'll be grabbing you by the collar, and it's like, yo, you're out. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's
when
like,
I was still,
calm down.
I was like, hey, calm your shit. Oh, do we swear? By the way, do we swear?
Yeah, you're good.
Or am I'm good? Okay, are you?
You're good.
Yeah, because you know my style, I think, by now. So, in Japan, I'd be elbowing people left and right, officials and everything. Dude, just the other day I was in a tag match, and I was like, okay, wait, when it comes to this, what are the rules? Like, because the stuff is a little, like, even like the rules of most like basic stuff is a little different than in Japan, not only the styles. So I'm a little bit like, okay, guys, sorry, somebody explain. Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's go. So it's different, but I like the challenge.
Well, let's talk on a broader scale. How's the experience getting to work in the United States been so far for you?
It's good. As I said, I like a challenge. Japan was really, I was working in Japan and living there for 5 years. So being out here, obviously, I do enjoy that there is a little bit less of a language barrier. So I like being able to just express myself, when it comes to doing promos, when it comes to talking, to my teammates, my new teammates and stuff like that. So it's really, or having even the fan events that I really enjoy, being able to, I picked Japanese up when I was over there, but it's not the same, obviously, right? English is not my first language, but I'm riding the wave. It's all right. But other than that, it's cool. I love AEW. It's been if for those who've been reading interviews and listening to stuff I've said before, that was kind of the dream. So I was watching some of the first pay-per-views, with my friends when I was still a little backyarder back where I'm from in Austria. so I'd be pointing at the TV and it's like, guys, give me a couple of years, but I'm gonna be on TV. So, and then my friends from back then, they'll be watching the pay-per-views now, and they'll be like, yeah, she actually did it. It's like, told y'all.
Not only did you actually do it, but like you got to wrestle in the O2 at Forbidden Door with all these incredible women. So it's like you did it, but then like you did it turned up to 11. So like no big deal.
I've been doing it for a little while, right? I'm very happy that everything is taking off so fast. I'm really happy that American fans really seem to understand what I'm doing. Just it's going super well, and just everything that comes out of me naturally seems to really work for everybody. And everybody's so badass, it's cool. And it's like, wow, that's cool. I was doing some of that shit in Japan, and people were like crickets. It's like, oh, you don't, it's not part of the culture. They don't get it, So it's like, okay, it's cool to be here and do my stuff, and everybody is liking it right away. It's cool.
Well, let's talk about your time in Japan and how kind of it all began. What promotion did you originally start with in Japan?
So my first ever match in Japan was actually my fourth match ever. So I was super green. Yeah. And that was in the underground scene. So that was like, and like some kind of nightclub, hip hop club, and as a little ring with ropes that were made out of chains. It's crazy. And that was my first match, maybe 2019 or 18, I don't know. And then in 2019, I joined Ice Ribbon.
Because I was going to say, Ice Ribbon was where I remember you first from.
Yeah.
But I was like, there had to have been something beforehand. But apparently, this is really where the story begins with Ice Ribbon.
Pretty much. So I did well in that crazy underground match I did the first time, right? And they were like, oh, she's got something, so let's send her to Ice Ribbon, where they actually taught me the ropes a little bit, because I had barely ever seen a ring from the inside, so I really had to catch up, and it was great there because I was living at the dojo. I just stayed in a little room and got to train every day, 20 hours, 30 hours a week. So it's really, I was there, and then I just made big jumps, the more I was working with them. So my first tour over there was 6 weeks, and I got to wrestle. Before that, I had 13 matches, maybe max altogether, from a career of 2 years. Wrestling in Austria isn't that big, so every 3 months you get to do the thing. So in Japan it was like you got like 3 or 4 matches a week. I remember having 3 matches in a day, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's great, but also very tiring. But that was the beginning of that, So that's where I learned my resilience too, which is super important when you want to work for a company like AEW.
Yeah. So you're at Ice Ribbon for a couple of years, and then eventually you make your way over to Stardom.
That's right. Yeah.
Debuted under a mask, joined up with Julia, did some fun stuff. What was the jump from Ice Ribbon to Stardom like?
It was really good. Obviously, it was a much bigger platform straight away. I remember my in-ring debut was watched by 20,000 people live. So I was like, oh wow. Before that, I had
no pressure.
No pressure whatsoever. I had 20 people at the dojo during like COVID times. We had sometimes 200 people at Kurokan Hall, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, next big jump, So that was cool. I especially for the beginning time when I start somewhere, I just put it all out, and I was working really hard. So my first couple of matches was just banger after banger, and the Stardom fans were like, hell yeah. And then after a month or something, I won my first singles belt. So they pushed me to the moon, and it was really good. And then, it goes up and down, and then I got injured after a little while, and that, you take 3 steps, forward, and then you take 5 back, but that's wrestling, that's business. But I stuck around, and Stardom is where some of the best females wrestle. So, especially being together with Julia, who is one of the best wrestlers in the world, I think, female or male. I learned a lot from her, and all the other girls who were there coming in and out. So Stardom was tough, very tough, but very good. Very good.
We'll talk a little bit about that toughness of Stardom. We hear that a lot here, and from both a physical and kind of an emotional way.
Physical, yeah, they punch you in the face if that's what you're asking. It's just very hard hitting, and just the style. I mean, they'll kill each other for a house show, in front of 100 very dedicated customers. Don't get me wrong, but it's some of those those matches I've done. I was like, okay, you know the bump card, right? Yeah, that one fucked it up. Thanks for nothing. You know,
like normally one bump is one punch, but this one was 10.
Exactly. You know, so yeah, dude, what can I say? But as I'll say it again about the resilience, you know, going through those very, very physical, very tough, very also complicated sometimes matches has just, I mean, made me who I am now. You know, that if I hadn't worked there, I think it would have been so much more difficult, if not impossible, going from Japan or Europe to America. You know, there's and to work for AEW. I mean, there's a reason why there's so very few female Europeans on TV. You know, so and that really helps me adapt. You know, so because we got those tons of four ways and 8 women matches, you know, and there's like so many bodies in the ring. It's like, dude, that's I'm used to that. We got 10 men over there every week, you know. I don't it's like just make sure you don't punch any of your people, you know, in the face. That's the only thing, you know. Other than that,
make sure everyone's on the right team.
Yeah. Who are you? Yeah. Get on my way.
Oh, you're baby face now. You're over there.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm kind of curious. With obviously like Stardom and Japanese style wrestling, as you said, they punch you in the face. It's very physical. It's very demanding. But one of the things that I think people have really attached themselves to you is just this amazing character you have. This spidery, toxic spider, creepy, but like also deadly persona. So how did you kind of build your character while trying to avoid getting seriously hurt while getting punched in the face?
So the thing is, everything you see on TV that I'm doing now, I've been doing since my debut back in Austria. You know, like the spider walk, that I did that in my first match ever already. So basically, everything that I'm doing now, like the foundation of that, I already laid out in 2017. So, and then I did a little bit of that in Stardom, but I kind of also, for the sake of getting more technical, you know, I kind of put a lot of that. And don't get me wrong, I think the spider, like the character work, that's something that very often doesn't even work in Japan very well, you know, because they want to go, they want to do a lot of shit. And then, you know, if I stop the whole thing with, I'm in the bridge, you know, I want you to, you know, be scared. They'll be like, they don't necessarily always understand that, you know? So I just, at some point I decided to let it all go and change my character completely into the idol killer. And I didn't do any fancy shit anymore. It was just like, okay, I got a problem with you, because you're all way too cute for my shit, you know. And then I just started calling out the fans and the president of the company, you know. And that was like, it was a completely different thing. But I feel like that actually worked a lot better, and that actually put my name out there in the States as well, you know. I mean, being able to do both things, you know. When I was the idol killer, it was just you know, getting my belt out and whipping bitches, you know. So, I know that's very easy to understand, you know. And it's not can't really discuss that, you know. So.
I love it. This is an excellent conversation, and we've got so much more to dive into when it comes to your story, and we're going to do that when we come back right here. Let's take a quick break. AEW Unrestricted will continue shortly. AEW Unrestricted, Will Washington, Aubrey Edwards. We're talking with Thekla, the Toxic Spider.
What's up?
I've got a question for you, as I should, because I host this show. So
kind of your job.
You mentioned kind of calling your shot. Back in Austria, you talked about the backyard days of seeing wrestling on TV and going, I'm going to be there. My question is, let's talk about your early relationship with professional wrestling. What exactly created that love for wrestling? What was it like? Kind of what drove you to the backyard? What made you decide this is what I want to do?
So I've told this story many times, but I love telling it because it just reminds me of the good old days when I started, which is not that long ago. Because unlike a lot of other people, I think my first contact with wrestling was when I was 18 or 19. I kind of almost accidentally ran into a show called Rock and Roll Wrestling Bash. And at that time, I was especially interested in the rock and roll part, and the wrestling part was very new to me. And they had, in one of my favorite music venues back in Vienna, they put up a little ring in front of 1,000, 2,000 people or something. And they had a crust punk band play in the back and just ripping it. And in the middle of the ring, you had a bunch of crazy characters, like Boris the Butcher and like Crazy Clown and shit like that, you know. Ooh. And it's like, especially Boris the Butcher really made an impression on me because he had a weapon, and his weapon was a chicken. You'd probably bought at the shop in like a dead with no feathers. He was just beating his opponent with this dead animal, and we were like, whoa.
That is the most punk rock thing I've ever heard.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, because we were all up, about punk rock stuff, you know. So that guy Boris the Butcher beating his opponent with a chicken was the most punk rock thing I had seen to date. And then the chicken, like, it was like there were parts everywhere in the crowd, you know, because the crowd was standing right by the ring. We could just like hit the ring like that. It was so close, you know. It was really cool. Unlike TV shows, right? We were really close to the action, and it was blood everywhere, and we're like, oh, what is this? We need to get more of that. And then we started to like look into what else Vienna had to offer. And I'll tell you, it's not a lot. So when I decided, okay, I want to give this a try because I think I might be punk rock enough for this shit. I found the Vienna Wrestling School, which is a school trained by a guy called Humongous, who was my original trainer. A big martial arts guy, actually, who was teaching us basically the basics of fighting on very thin mats, fighting and falling, and and doing all that stuff. It was very, very painful and very harsh, and it was not in a ring. Which some people think that is probably the most important thing when it comes to teaching and doing pro wrestling. Not sure about it. It's up to debate. Yeah, but So that's where I started, and I was straight up like, yeah, that's definitely for me.
I've heard a lot of like, this is the thing that got me into wrestling stories, but I saw a man beating up people with a chicken carcass is a new one.
Yeah.
To look at that and go, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, it was just a whole mix of the band playing in the back. It was really aggressive, and the guy it was just all the action and the drama and the chicken. Obviously, the chicken really got me. I can never forget the fucking chicken.
It's kind of memorable. Like, how can you can't forget the chicken?
I know, and my dream now, so many years later, I just want to meet Boris the Butcher. Seriously, it's probably some.
You're like, your chicken changed my life.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, your chicken changed my life, dude. You know, I mean, you're the reason I'm on TV now. Probably, I don't know.
So I have a question, because obviously, like you've mentioned, the Vienna wrestling scene is very small. So a lot of how it works in America, and I'm sure you've heard this, like we find our wrestling school and then we do local wrestling shows and you start to travel kind of out there. You obviously did not have a lot of matches before going to Japan. So how do you sort of cut your teeth in that part of the world?
Oh, in Japan or in Austria?
In Austria.
In Austria, dude, I don't know. There is also not much competition, you know. And I had that presence. Some people call it aura, because I was playing in punk bands and doing that shit on a regular basis, you know. It's like when it comes to standing somewhere and dictating, you know, everybody to fucking look at me, you know, and claim that I'm the best there is right now. People go like, damn, she is, you know. So that's if you think about it, that's a lot of what wrestling actually is, in my opinion, you know. So
the performance aspect.
Yeah, but also I know how to fucking work my ass off, you know? It was like, and put two and two together. I saw my coach, and he had ties to Japan, right? And it was underground, but still, it was like, I was always interested in Japanese culture. And once I saw even a glimpse of hope for doing that wrestling thing that was my favorite hobby at the time, right? And doing that in Japan, and just imagining the story in my head was like, yeah, I gotta do that. Like, you know what I mean? I straight up went up to my coach and was like, so I'm gonna be in Japan next month. And he's like, yeah, you want to do a gig there? And I was like, yep. I was like, okay, cool. I'll figure it out, you know? And that's, you know, you just always gotta let stuff take you to the next place. I don't know how to explain it, you know? But I'm always
go with the flow.
Exactly. That's basically it. I always have, like, I've got very strong gut feeling. And when something in me or my body tells me, like, hey, that thing, you really want that, or you really want to do that, then I really don't care how much it takes to achieve that, you know? I'll just be like, okay, I'm putting everything on that card. I don't care. This is the most exciting thing I can imagine, so I'm going to do it.
Dang.
Well, so that then begs the question. At what point, you know, we're talking about wrestling in Austria, we've talked about wrestling in Japan, but wrestling in the States is like neither of those things. We're talking about an entirely different beast. At what point did you say to yourself, this is what I'm ready for? I'm ready to take that leap into wrestling in the States?
Honestly, I was already ready for it, I think. I was already ready for it, let's say, throughout half of my Stardom career, right? Like, but the rest of the world wasn't ready yet. You know what I mean? It was like I went.
The best way to look at it.
Exactly. You know, I went with the flow, and I found myself wanting stuff again and reaching out to people, and then one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I was in the middle of, you know, discussing going to the States, you know. And don't get me wrong, I really loved my life in Japan, you know, and I was doing very well over there. But I was also like, I've done everything here. I've felt every feeling there is to feel over there. I learned the language, I learned the culture. People know me. And although I love it and I don't want to give it up, it's also time for me to move on and learn something new, because that's always what I'm about, you know. And I felt comfortable and confident enough to be like, yeah, I can probably make it in the States too now, you know? So it's like, I felt comfortable with that style, so I'm ready to learn new style. So, and then I just, the other thing was just not shying away from new things, you know? I think a lot of people sometimes stand in their own way when it comes to stuff because they're afraid of success, you know, or failing, you know, but it's the same thing basically, you know? You just gotta take
Right. It's the fear of failure prevents people from having that success. And it's if you don't,
it's that, but it's also people, some they don't want to admit it, but people are afraid of the workload, you know? They don't want to put that much work into it, you know?
Right. I mean, they're at A, they want to get to Z, but they're not doing B through Y.
Yeah. And then they're like, you know, and that's basically what keeps people from, you know, taking the next step, in my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, I was just ready to rock and roll it in the States. So.
Hell yeah. Well, then you came over here, you made the jump. It was phenomenal, your debut, which we're gonna talk about. We got a little bit more. We got to take a quick break here on AEW Unrestricted. So stay tuned as we're talking with Thekla.
AEW Unrestricted. Will Washington, Aubrey Edwards, talking with the Toxic Spider and 1/3 of the Triangle of Madness. She is Thekla. You know, we went to break talking about deciding to travel to the States. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but you had your first American wrestling experience in April. What was that kind of like? Because that was Vegas, right?
That was Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. So I imagine like somebody's first like working experience being Vegas. Like Vegas is so like nothing else, right? In terms of really any parts of it. But what was that experience like? Did that kind of give you a taste of what you were about to start to experience?
Well, yeah, because I mean, what I enjoyed and was like surprised about the first time I was working in Vegas is like, oh shit, like if I'm doing the heat, now people can actually fucking understand what I'm saying, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they can hear my shit, people can hear my trash talk, you know? So I'm trying to, it's almost like I'm trying to be a bad bitch, but those people just heard like the nasty shit I say in between. So, they're just all laughing. It's like, oh shit, I'm not in Japan anymore, you know? That was like, I was like, oh, that's fun, you know? I like that, the fact that I knew immediately that it's gonna be easier for me to connect to the audience with just how I am naturally, you know, just what comes out like that. So I was like, I was getting excited. I was like, okay, good. I was hoping for that. Other than that, it was pretty much like size-wise, it's the same, you know. Still, when it comes to experience, Austria is still the craziest place because the people we were performing for, they had no filter. They would just say whatever came to their mind, and it was the nastiest stuff ever. Very creative, but very, very out of pocket, you know. Complete opposite of the Japanese, right?
Right. I feel like a lot of times when we have like talent come over from Japan and they're like, hey, can I say this on TV? And I'm like, no. Like, you can't say that at all. Oh, I can't.
I'm still trying that. It's like, I was like, can I say? And they're like, Thekla, you should know better than that. It's like,
but I want to.
Come on.
I can say it on this podcast. Why can't I say it on TV?
Don't get me wrong. I wasn't allowed to say that in Japan either, but what were they going to do?
Right. If they don't understand you, it's kind of like, well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was like, fuck you, you know, they were kind of like, okay, Thekla, we can understand. You know that we can understand you.
We may not understand the words, but we understand the aggression.
Right.
What you're trying to get across.
Yeah. No, Vegas was awesome. I was immediately like, hell yeah, I can't wait to do more of this over here. So it was a great experience.
Right. So you go Vegas and then you make your way over to AEW. We first saw you on TV when Jamie Hayter was in the ring, and then lights go out. We see all of the spiders. You come in there with these, I'm going to give you props here. Those shoes that you had, they were like gigantic platforms that were like taller than you almost. And you somehow like did the flippy thing in the heels without breaking an ankle. And I'm like, this girl has it. She gets it. She understands it. It was the coolest thing I had seen in a very long time. And it's one of those things like, it's so small, but it's like the amount of body control you need to be able to pull that off. So what was that like, debuting in front of all of these AEW fans?
It was, I was very locked in those moments. I'm super concentrated. I just do my thing. Yeah. Just, I just go through everything in my head and I visualize it, and then just is like step 1, step 2, step 3, you know. It was those are my Austrian streetwalker boots, and I know how to work them very well. And you know what, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. It's actually easier to do it in the boots. I can't explain to you how, but it's
You're gonna
easier
have to show
somehow.
me at work. You're gonna have to show me at work.
I'll show you how to do it at work.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I mean, I've been working on that particular thing for a very long time, you know, and I knew this is the moment. It's got to look perfect, you know. So I put everything in my body. I trained very hard, so I'd be in the best shape possible for my debut as well. Yeah, but that was cool. I was really happy that I could, like, you know, get a chance to go after one of our top dogs straight away, and it just made me look, just put me in the spotlight, I think, and set me up for success. After that, I've been following up, which is partly, obviously things happen, you know. You have to, as I said, you go with the flow. Sometimes there's stuff also since I've been AEW where I'm like, good Lord, you know. It's like you can take things personally, or you can, you know, shit happens, but you just got to be positive and stick to, you know, your guns. And yeah, it's been good ever since. It's a learning experience. Every day I come to work still, it's like, shit, I didn't know that. It's like, it's challenge after challenge, but that's what I'm about. I just try to, keep both feet on the ground and enjoy it. And I've been doing that. So it's cool. I really can't complain. It's awesome.
Well, I remember a lot of the conversation around your debut and kind of a lot of the anticipation. I remember, we were talking about the graphics and some of the hints we were dropping on screen. And talking with Mikey Ruckus, getting music, like literally everything coming around as
Genius.
far as right. What was the anticipation like for you as we got closer to that day? I believe it was May 28th, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because Double or Nothing was the 25th, so then that would have been 3 days later.
Yeah.
And so, what was that anticipation like for you, kind of counting down to that day?
Well, I didn't really know what to expect, and that was, you have to work with very little information really. So that's sometimes that can be a little hard when trying to stay in shape also, it can, that kind of shit fucks with your mind really, if you know what I mean. So you just got to be really, really, try to stay cool. Other than that, I was just, I would come and I didn't know what I was gonna do, where my opening would be. And in the meantime, I just talked to everybody, and just like, oh shit, look at that legend. So I'm going to introduce myself. It's like, oh shit, and then there's another one. So I got to pick that brain. It's like, oh shit, I got to do shit. All right. It's like, I just try to stay in the moment. And I was just hoping to make as much of an impact as possible. That's the only thing I could hope for. Sometimes I have crippling imposter syndrome, that will keep me from reaching my next level. So I try to silence the voices in my head, and just go out there and do my thing.
I feel like every successful person has had imposter syndrome at some point. They've just gotten really good at quieting those voices.
Yeah, or hiding it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, we're just going to kind of ignore this for now. We would be doing a bad job on this podcast if we did not talk about the Triangle of Madness and just your linking up with Julia Hart and Skye Blue, and how absolutely like it makes so much sense. You've got all these spooky bitches and they're all coming together, and it's the perfect picture. So what was it like when you found out you were going to be paired up with Julia and Skye?
I saw it coming, honestly. I think there's so many parallels, especially with me and Julia in the way we move in the ring, and also our love for extravagant, visuals. So she's got a very artistic mind too, and that's my base too. We're all into the same type of music also. So I think that's, there's a base with that. I was not shocked at all. I think it's a phenomenal fit. I'm just excited to see where we can take it really. For now, I just hope people are gonna stick with madness, It's like, and hopefully call us that too, because in my head, I don't know what you're thinking, but I think we could definitely use some more people on our team, and I'd love it if we even expand at some point, maybe even guys.
Oh, it'd become like a hexagon of madness.
Exactly, exactly.
A dodecahedron of madness.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would, if we become a thing, and compete with the other bigger units, I would love that. I'm very proud that it seems like we're probably the first female unit in AEW. So
I'd say that. I'm trying to think.
We haven't had like a full-on female faction. This is
right.
Like really. We had, I guess now that I just said that out loud, the Outcast is really the only other one that comes to mind. But other than that, like to really get to push you guys as this trio, like to me, it made perfect sense, right? You take Julia and Skye, who have been together for the better part of almost. Oh my God, it's almost been 2 years now that I think about that. Because that was around like end of 2023.
Full
but
gear.
then when you add Thekla to this act, and all of a sudden it feels complete. It suddenly feels like you never thought there was a missing piece, but now that you have Thekla in it and you see the entrance and the music's super cool, the graphics are super cool, and and then you guys have just this really, really cool entrance together. To me, it just makes the act feel like everything, all the pieces are here now. But then hearing you say that, hey, we could use more pieces, all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I don't know who else we can have in here, but it would be awesome if we did.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the three of us look phenomenal together.
Oh,
and we're strong as it is, we're on the same page. And it's the more people you add, the harder it is to keep everybody on the same page. You know what I mean? But for the three of us, you can see it. Everything we've done so far is very locked in to get as one thing, and we haven't known each other for that long, but I feel like just the way they've been doing things and the way I've been doing things, I think there's a lot that we can learn from each other, and there's a lot of stuff I want to show them too from when I was in Japan, and it's like, there's this mean little thing you can do, and there's that little thing, and just make it into something that people haven't seen before in AEW,
Hell yeah.
It really is a lot of different experience between the three of you, like when you really think about who each of you is as performers, right? Because like I think about Skye and how Skye is so young, but at the same time she's so experienced. She's been around the indies for so long, and that's really where she built herself up in the indie scene. But then you have you with this Japanese experience, but then you have Julia, who's really one of our homegrowns, and to have kind of three different backgrounds in professional wrestling come together, just from not even the character standpoint, but from what you guys bring to each other, I think is also really cool.
I think it's really good. I think especially when it comes to Julia, she's got that aura, every time she does her entrance, and then she can command the ring in her own way very much. And when I watch Skye, she is just hard hitting and mean. I love her moveset too. It's just cool. And when it comes to that, I'm just excited to see what happens if they even put out, if they have the women's tag team thing. I think they've got phenomenal chemistry already. So I think they would love to go for that, the two of them, right? And I would probably go for singles gold. But if they decide to have a trios championship out, then hey, now we're talking.
Just
right?
give you guys all the gold. Like, just take it all.
Well, that's the plan, right? I mean, it's not about the gold, but the gold would make us stronger, right? So it's about having that monopoly, madness all over.
Madness, the monopoly of madness, from the triangle of madness. So we're getting sort of close to the end here. You've had an incredible career in a short amount of time, and I'm very happy you're at AEW. What is sort of the thing that has surprised you the most since coming to AEW?
Who surprised me the most? Actually, the way I'm just doing, I wasn't expecting to be on all the posters already, to be, involved in stories already. I thought I was prepared for craziness, and I got craziness. Don't get me wrong, but I wasn't expecting to have such a great time right away. I thought I was I was gonna have to hustle a little more, but it's all coming together naturally, and I'm surprised. I had seen the girls, but I'm also surprised by the locker room. We got very, very talented girls, and everybody's such a character. We got really good. We got really good personalities, and every time somebody comes out, it's a big pop. If it's a Megan Bain, if it's a Julia Hart, it's like, wow, it's like, damn, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, and everybody's different, and I think that's really cool. As a fan, I'd be happy as could be.
Right.
There's something for everybody. It's really cool.
It's really awesome because I think everyone in our locker room pushes each other, and we all kind of see each other's success, and we don't use that as like competition against each other. It's more of a competition of like, okay, how can we be better? How can we make this bigger? How can we, take this crazy match that we just found out about and make it the match that everybody talks about this week? Like,
exactly.
Week in, week out, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and I think you're just a great fit for that crazy combination that is AEW.
No, I mean I'm madness, I'm a crazy bitch from over there and from over there. I've traveled it all, and so this is I think I agree. I think I'm a perfect fit, and I can't wait to see what else is gonna happen.
Yeah, I can't wait to see like where we're gonna be like a year from now, and even 2 years from now, and just all of the growth that's gonna happen. It's gonna be unreal. It's gonna be madness.
I think we're onto a catchphrase here,
right? Madness.
Madness.
Well, thank you,
channeling a little macho man there.
The madness. Yeah.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll workshop it. We'll come back. We'll come up with something. Thank you for joining us today, Thekla. This was an awesome conversation. You can follow her on Instagram at toxic_Thekla. AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck, our amazing friends. You can collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. You can unwrap autograph, memorabilia, premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, on all of your favorite podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you listen. And check out the video episodes on our YouTube channel, AEW Unrestricted. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're not an AEW insider, you can get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, so much more straight to your inbox. Sign up today, AEWTIX.com. Don't forget, you can see this amazing woman and all of her amazing bitches on AEW on TBS Wednesdays, 8 p.m., streaming on Max. And Collision live every Saturday on TNT and also streaming on Max. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. I'm Aubrey Edwards with my co-host Will Washington. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.